Today, we have a steamy masterpiece on our hands, Bathsheba at her bath by the legendary Rembrandt. It just seems like she's enjoying her me time, isn't she? I mean, just look at her, enjoying the services while comfortably sitting in her, well, birthday suit. Someone get this girl some clothes, please. We have here Bathsheba by her bath, which is a profound portrayal of a biblical figure with a complex narrative. Did I say biblical? You heard that right. Bathsheba is a biblical figure. The biblical story about Bathsheba includes adultery and violence, prophetic rebuke and terrible repercussions, and the breakdown and assuming of the throne. So according to the Old Testament, Bathsheba is the wife of Uriah, a military leader who was engaged in combat at the time when King David glanced upon Bathsheba bathing from his rooftop. He instantly fell in love with her and summoned her to the palace, where they slept together, causing her to get pregnant. Steamy indeed. Pun intended. Afterward, the king sends Bathsheba's husband into war, where he is murdered. The king did all these to conceal his immoral behavior and Bathsheba's pregnancy. Shortly after, Bathsheba marries King David, after having her life completely turned around, and they eventually had King Solomon, one of the most famous rulers in ancient history. Bathsheba, the central figure, is rendered with remarkable attention to detail, showcasing Rembrandt's mastery of light and shadow. Her contemplative expression invites us to delve into her inner thoughts and emotions. Bathsheba at her bath by Rembrandt is a captivating painting that tells the story of Bathsheba, a woman from biblical times, as she bathes in her private quarters. Created in the 17th century, Rembrandt's interpretation of this subject matter goes beyond mere depiction of a biblical figure and delves into the depths of human emotion, vulnerability, and sensuality. Let's have a comprehensive interpretation of this masterpiece, shall we? There she is, shown taking a bath while holding a letter from King David. She's exquisitely painted. The backdrop of the artwork is deep, rich, and black, as it appears to sink back indefinitely. To the left, there's a plush couch and a stack of materials that inexplicably extend behind her. In the manner in which ancient baths were administered, a servant washes her feet. Bathsheba is portrayed as a large woman with stunning red hair with coral beads wrapped around her. As she reads the message from King David, she holds a gaze down in contemplation. Rembrandt masterfully composes the painting, placing Bathsheba at the center, bathed in soft light that accentuates her figure and creates a sense of intimacy. The use of chiaroscuro, the interplay between light and shadow, adds depth and realism to the scene, drawing the viewer's attention to Bathsheba's contemplative expression and graceful posture. The careful balance of light and darkness also suggests a moral duality, inviting reflection on the consequences of Bathsheba's actions. What actions, you ask? It's got something to do with the letter she's holding and the decision she made. Bathsheba had a difficult choice. Should she follow the king's orders, which carried significant weight in those days, or should she remain devoted to her husband? Her disturbed face suggests that she is already aware of the sorrow that would follow her choice, including the loss of her husband, the judgment of God that the prophet Nathan would heap upon David, and the loss of the first child she was about to give birth to. Bathsheba's face is a focal point of the painting, revealing a mix of emotions. Her downcast eyes and pensive gaze evoke a sense of introspection and vulnerability. There is a hint of sadness and contemplation, suggesting that she may be reflecting on her actions and the consequences they may bring. This expression invites the viewer to empathize with her and raises questions about personal responsibility and the human condition. Through meticulous brushwork and subtle use of color, Rembrandt creates a sense of intimacy and emotional depth in Bathsheba at her bath. His skillful application of chiaroscuro enhances the three-dimensionality of the figure and draws the viewer into Bathsheba's private world. Rembrandt celebrates the beauty and sensuality of Bathsheba through his meticulous attention to detail. The artist captures the play of light on her bare skin, the gentle curves of her body, and the luxurious fabrics draped around her. Bathsheba's sensuality, however, is not portrayed in an exploitative or objectifying manner, but rather as a celebration of femininity and human vulnerability. In the painting, Bathsheba is placed in an environment that is difficult to read. The background is dark, suggesting night, while the tall column suggests a substantial building. A section of highly painted draperies made of browns and ochres that exude a golden warmth is located behind her. Her nude flesh stands out for its femme form and a lavish painting against the heavily painted background of a white chemise that surrounds her. Richly nuanced paint that is employed to depict her form. Its broad brushstrokes and bright highlights give the body a lively, tactile aspect that makes her presence tangible. This subtle approach reflects Rembrandt's sensitivity as an artist. The contrast between the different spaces in the place suggests a dichotomy between Bathsheba's private world and the consequences of her actions in the public realm. The dramatic scene also creates a sense of calm and provides respite from the weight of the moral dilemma Bathsheba faces. It also serves as a reminder of the moral choices that affect not only the individual, but also the world beyond. Bathsheba's story has long been a subject of artistic interpretation. Through his portrayal, Rembrandt engages with the moral complexities of the narrative and invites viewers to contemplate the consequences of her actions. Bathsheba at her bath is a testament to the enduring power of art to prompt introspection and ethical contemplation. Bathsheba at her bath was created during the Dutch Golden Age, a time of introspection, moral introspection in Dutch society. Rembrandt's portrayal of Bathsheba explores the themes of personal responsibility, virtue, and the consequences of one's actions. Bathsheba at her bath goes beyond a simple depiction of a biblical narrative. It invites viewers to contemplate on the complex moral issues of Bathsheba's story and its ethics. By depicting Bathsheba in a moment of contemplation and vulnerability, Rembrandt encourages us to reflect on the consequences of our choices and actions, and the often ambiguous nature of right and wrong. The painting is rich in symbolism, reinforcing the narrative of Bathsheba's story. The presence of the letter in Bathsheba's hand signifies her connection to David, a reminder of their forbidden relationship. It reminds us of the moral implications and consequences of her affair with King David. These symbols serve as visual cues that deepen our understanding of the story and prompt us to contemplate on the moral implications of Bathsheba's choices. Bathsheba at her bath by Rembrandt is a remarkable painting that delves into the emotional depths of its subject matter. Through skillful composition, use of light and shadow, symbolism, and a nuanced portrayal of Bathsheba's expression and sensuality, Rembrandt invites us to explore themes of introspection, personal responsibility, and moral complexity.